Hey everyone, you're watching Ash on Comics. My name is Ash, and this is today's comic, Silver Surfer Black, issue number 4, created by the all-time great Stan Lee. Stan the man, glad to have you here. Forky is our channel intern, and he's always here to, just sort of liven up things, and he's my friend. I like Forky. You should like Forky too. Silver Surfer Black is comic by Donnie Cates and Trad Moore. It's got really controversial art. You either like it or you probably hate it. It is very polarizing. I've been doing a review of Silver Surfer Black since it's come out. This is issue 4 out of a 5-issue series. And wow, the music you heard in the beginning is the Oblivion soundtrack, that sci-fi movie with Tom Cruise. Love that movie, really love the soundtrack, and it pairs perfectly with this comic. I urge you, if you're reading this book yourself, fire up that soundtrack, and it's awesome. Now, Silver Surfer is one of my favorite characters all time in comics, and it's really weird why that is, because he's not really much of a character, and he's rarely written very well. I was originally attracted to him just because I thought he had a cool name and he looked cool, and I like cosmic characters, even though most cosmic stories are stupid. It's not because cosmic stories are stupid, it's just because they're never done that well, and Silver Surfer is rarely done well. So it's weird that I kind of grew attracted to him because I had all those things going against him, but something stood out about the character, and I really wanted to like him. And then one day I read this miniseries that Stan Lee did with Mobius. They call it Silver Surfer Parable these days. I don't think that's what it was called in the beginning, but now you can get it as a graphic novel, and it was a fantastic story. I also really like the Coming of Galactus story in Fantastic Four. It's one of the most iconic Fantastic Four stories. I hope if they ever do a Fantastic Four movie in the MCU that they adapt that. It's got to be Silver Surfer and the Coming of Galactus. It's just a great story. Anyways, he's a character that I just kind of liked, and I always wished he would have great stories. That Parable story is fantastic. It's one of the last great Stan Lee written stories, and I urge you to check it out sometime. So fast forward to this comic. When it was coming out, I was not buying Marvel Comics, and I heard about it, and I knew Donnie Cates was a good writer, and I was like, oh man, they're doing a Silver Surfer book, and it's Donnie Cates, and I had missed out on Venom, and I knew Venom was doing well, but Venom wasn't a character I cared about, but Silver Surfer was, and I was just on the fence, and I was like, should I get this book? I mean, and finally I was like, you know what, I'm going to buy the first issue, and I'm going to see for myself. I don't want to miss a great Silver Surfer book. And then I read that book, and see my review. It literally brought tears in my eyes. A little embarrassing, but there's a lot of personal stuff going on I explained in that video, and it meant something. That was a fantastic book. Now, there's the last issue and this issue, I'll just kind of warn you, are a bit of an interlude. Issues 1 and 2 start off kind of with a bang and have Silver Surfer fighting. That's the first act of the story. Issues 3 and 4 are Act 2. And then the next issue will be Act 3, and it'll be the resolution. Donnie Cates, I applaud you. First of all, you understand a 3-act structure. I've been doing a lot of Bendis books lately, and it just drives me nuts because Bendis does not understand a 3-act structure. There is no actual sense of story. It's just characters rambling, and then, oh, hey, something random happens. The end. No, but Cates understands beginning, middle, and end. For those of you who aren't familiar with a 3-act structure, you've probably heard the term a lot, but you may not really have a grasp in your mind what 3-act structure means. One person explained it to me a while back, and I thought this was the most profound way to explain it in a simple way. Think of a 3-act structure in this way. Boy meets girl, boy loses girl, boy gets girl back. Now, it doesn't mean that stories are all about boys meeting girls or whatever. It's about the first act is discovery, something happening, and it's that sort of discovery. Act 2 is sort of the loss or the conflict setting up, and sort of setting up the ruination of the character or the achievement of whatever you're doing. A plot is all about conflict and resolution. And Act 2 is about, you're failing. It's you're overwhelmed by whatever the conflict is. That's losing the girl. And then Act 3 is getting the girl. That's the success, the achieving the conflict or the conflict resolution. And it doesn't always have to mean success. It can get more complicated than I'm describing it now, but I think that's a really good way. Someone's explained that to me, and I'm sitting here with a blank screen. I think that it can... I don't know. Dog, really? I'm sitting here losing my train of thought, and then my iPad's going black, and now the dog's... hey, we're recording here. This is a professional. Didn't you see? You don't care. You don't care. Not at all. Just keep doing your business, buddy. Yep. Yeah, go. In shame. Anyways, I'm rambling on. For those of you who never really understood it clearly, hopefully that simple way, that's what I always think about when writing and when I'm looking at a story. If I want to understand Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, I kind of use that as an analogy. So here we are into Silver Surfer Black. We start off, if you remember from the last issue, Norrinrad was being helped by Ego, and then it turned out that he had to help Ego himself, that Ego had this sort of tumor inside him, and it was killing him. Norrinrad went into the planet core to try to help, and he discovered this incubation chamber that has an infant Galactus in it. Now, this is a little bit weird of a story because I didn't understand. I don't have a backstory of why Galactus has been reverted to child form or whatever, and he's in the incubation chamber. So if anyone has a backstory of where I can understand this and tell me, put in the comments. I would say Eric Breen, I'm looking to you, but you don't read modern comics, so I don't think you have the answer to this one. But maybe you do. Surprise me. Anyway, so I'm just taking this story and I go, okay, so Galactus is some reason he's in this thing. So he's rescued, in a sense, rescued the chamber. He's rescued Ego. And so he's like, I gotta go. And Ego says, well, I'm here to help you, It's like, no, I got another way I'm gonna do this. And so he takes off, and Ego's like, well, if you need me, I'll be here. Just reach out for me. And he's like, all right. So he flies off, and he does this cool thing with his board where it turns into this chain and it wraps around. And so he tows this chamber off into space. And he's like, Ego says, what are you going to do? I'm going to kill him. And then we're at Helios Ra, a white dwarf star of the Apollo system. And this is just, I really like this image. Just really cool. One slight push, and it all goes away. And you can see Silver Surfer just, all he's got to do, he's just got to nudge it and put it into the gravity well, and it'll get sucked, and Galactus will be dead forever. Countless lives spared from his hunger. Hundreds of planets shining their light into the darkness. And he has this vision of his one true love, Shalabal, Norrin. And it's, and this perfect shot of the lying together, eye level in bed. I'm sorry. And he's about to push. And then you see Norrin, and you see a reflection. And he turns. And it's a Watcher. Come with me. Uatu? What are you doing here? Observing. Stopping you. Now, I have to admit, despite how much I'm impressed with Donnie Cates' writing, I'm a little bit bummed by this. I don't like the Watcher interfering. And this is sort of... They just did this recently in that... that stupid Infinity Watch thing, Wolverine. What was it? The book where Wolverine was and it had cosmic ghosts. Anyways, where Watcher interferes. And it's like, This is getting out of hand. There's too many times now where writers are just like, oh, the Watcher shows up and he interferes. That's not what the Watcher does. And here, even Silver Surfer's like, stop me. You're a Watcher. You're bound not to interfere. The Watchers have decreed that Galactus shall live. There must always be a balance. The light, the dark. Your presence here is the interference, not mine. This is madness. He will kill billions. It has to end. This will not end your pain. There are many lives, Norrin. Every action makes a branches of reality. Possible universes. So he explains all these different outcomes that could happen. And he says, the only thing that will change is that you will have to live with what you have done this day. I don't know how to win. I don't know how to survive this null. The Watcher responds, you face a growing darkness that threatens us all. The end of everything we know. I will not interfere. And then again, I had to pause and I was like, okay, that's cool. I like this dialogue, but this doesn't make sense. Silver Surfer is going to destroy Galactus. He's interfering. Null destroying the universe, which would destroy Galactus and Silver Surfer and the Watcher. He won't interfere with that. I'm really having to suspend my disbelief here, and that's not something I should do, Donnie. But he says, but if I may, perhaps you could seek counsel from someone who has survived the end of everything once before. And he gestures to the incubation chamber. Silver Surfer says, Galan, yes. Galan is the real name of Galactus. If I could reach his mind, the power, perhaps I could. What is? And so then he reaches in and he sees the end of the previous universe that Galactus was in. And that's pretty cool. And how Galactus formed. And I thought this was a really cool image. And then he gets kind of into the mind, and all this is kind of happening into the psyche of Galactus. And Galactus is resisting him because he sees Silver Surfer as this enemy threat. He doesn't understand who Surfer is. And but finally, Silver Surfer passes. He says, I am unafraid. What does he say before that? Show me who you are. But I know the true face of Galactus the Devourer, and I am unafraid. And then he says, no, Galan, your real face. Why? As he starts to pull off his helmet. Why do you attack me, traveler? Who are you? I mean to kill you. For the things that you will do and the thing that you will become, so that I may heal myself and stop another horror. I see. And this is masterful dialogue by Donnie Cates here. And you can see the expression of Galan. And these things I will do, should I know my crimes before I am to be executed for them? What am I to become? Death. You become a destroyer of worlds. You feast upon them in the name of some unseen scale you claim to balance. I see. If I may, is that not also your excuse? Silver says, I'm sorry? You hope to snuff my life out in order to prevent some sort of other, what did you call it? Horror? You would kill light to beat the dark. Are you not also balancing the fates with death? I have felt it, traveler, this new power of mine. I can feel the universe pulling me towards a purpose of its own design. I know too many things. Soon I will outgrow this form, and I grow hungry. So do what you must. But as one who has gazed into it and yet lived, I know but one thing about the nature of universal balance. You cannot defeat the dark with darkness. And this was a striking image, I thought. You could see the tears going down his eyes as Galan kind of embraces him. And this is probably the most human moment that Surfer's ever had with his master. Galactus is always this sort of empty, emotionless being, that he's just above... he's above empathy. And Silver Surfer lights up and he says, No, you cannot. I am not my maker. I am not death. So he stops himself and he sets Galactus off into some orbit to some planet, blah, blah. And he decides he returns to Ego. And Ego's like, you have returned. I do not have time to explain. Read my mind and I will show you. And Ego says, Norrin, this? Are you sure? So this is kind of a normal writing trope, to like, oh, what do they say? What's going on? And kind of hooks you. So they've got a plan, but we don't know what that plan is because we are not privy to it. And Silver Surfer responds, yes, it's the only way to win. What you ask for is within my powers. You wish for me to commune across the celestial planes, connect you with everything. I do, yes. Then reach out with me, tether your mind's eye to mine, and bear witness, Surfer. Open your eyes and gaze into the infinite. I can see it. Across the stars, life. All of it connected, I can feel them all. They sense the growing black, as do I, and they are all so afraid. Tell them, Ego, tell them what I need from them. Tell them to seed their life into the abyss. Choke it with their light. Now, focus it, channel it, all of it, into me. It is done, Norrin. You have what you need, but I do not understand what this is what you have made. I do not understand what this is, what you have made. I have what I need to end this. I will no longer curse the darkness, Ego. Then what will you do? Burn. And you get this really cool shot of the dragon and Silver Surfer floating in the abyss to be concluded. And so again, boy lost girl. So Silver Surfer kind of like lost his way. He lost his hope. He was beaten. His ally he had to save. Things were looking hopeless. He was about to make a grave mistake and kill Galactus. And now we're going to go into Act 3 where boy gets girl back. And that is him presumably overcoming the conflict by this idea he's going to burn. And we'll see how that happens. Next issue, the final stand against Null. The Surfer's severely depleted of his power cosmic. Will desperate lengths force him to use his secret weapon and unleash a new horror upon the galaxy? Trust us, you won't want to miss this epic conclusion. Silver Surfer Black number 5, and you can see he's all black at this point. So I'm interested. Sign me up. I'm ready to go. I love this book. This is not as good as like the first two. The first two really sunk their teeth into me, but like I said, this is Act 2, and it's having to sort of regain himself. He's having to come back and triumph over the darkness. Come on, dog, you were just there. You're really that thirsty? I don't think you are. You just love to get attention, get on camera. All right, so that's this book. I hope you enjoyed me talking about it. Hopefully you got something out of this. Tell me what you feel about this book. If you're not reading it, why aren't you reading it? And hopefully it's not the art. Like, I understand this is a big deal, but honestly, this grows on you. I wasn't a big fan either. When I bought issue 1, I didn't buy the normal cover because of the art. I got the Ron Lim variant cover, which is nice. But after reading the book and after falling in love with the story and everything, I feel like this art is part of this book. It belongs. And while I don't want to see Trav more... Well, it's time to stop. I don't want to see Trav more doing everything in the future, but for this, it works. And for the right type of books, I like it. So hopefully that's not your stumbling block. Hopefully you're willing to read this. If you're waiting for the trade, well, that makes sense too. Comics are expensive. I'll tell you what happens in the next one. It'll get it all spoiled for you. This is way better reading it month to month though, and wondering what's going to happen next. I'm really eager. When next month happens, this book comes out, it's going to be one of the first books I read because I can't wait to find out. And that's a great feeling about comics, and we need that more. So Stan, thank you for creating one of my favorite characters in Silver Surfer. And Forky gives it the thumbs up. This is not trash. He certifies it. And I love this. So I would say this is about a 4-star book. It's not perfect. It's not the 5 stars. I got to save those for the really exceptional things. But 4-star means it's a recommend. I do not hesitate to recommend it. So hopefully you're reading it, like I said. And tell me what you think below if you are loving it, not. And I'm going to stop blabbing now. I'll see you next time.